All right, all right, all right. The sun is shining. The birds are chirping, which means it is time for another currency dump. A couple large size, handful of obsoletes. So let's just dive into it. First up, 1914 series $5 Federal Reserve note featuring Abraham Lincoln. This is out of the Kansas City Bank. Burke McAdoo signature combination. Friedberg 880. Very iconic back. Circulated condition. We've got the 1914 series $10 Federal Reserve note featuring Thomas Jefferson. Excuse me, featuring Andrew Jackson. My goodness. Out of the New York branch, Burke Houston signature combination. This would be Friedberg 910. Equally iconic back. Circulated condition. Sorry, Andy. And we've got the 1914 $20 Federal Reserve note featuring Grover Cleveland out of the San Francisco branch. Another Burke Houston signature combination, Friedberg 1010. Transportation. All circulated notes. This one unfortunately has a little bit of a corner missing, but nice trio. The 5, 10, and the 20, 1914s. Moving on to some obsoletes. These are all from the state of South Carolina. And the reason I picked these up is because they were pretty cheap for the lot. I believe I paid, if you do the math, a little over $21 per note. So first one here, State Bank of South Carolina at Charleston, dated May 9th, 1857. This is the $5 denomination. We've got the signature of the cashier, Mr. Benjamin Lee, and the president's signature, Edward Sebring. Interesting center vignette with the 5 overprint. A lot of these are going to be mounted or hinged, however you want to call it, but they obviously came from one collection. But for 21 bucks per note, I thought it was a pretty cool score. Have no idea what this means, but it's a very, very heavy stamp. FAD black stamp. So $5 Bank of South Carolina, the State Bank at Charleston. We've got another State Bank of South Carolina at Charleston. This would be the $10 denomination. This one is dated February 8th, 1860. Same signatures of Benjamin Lee and Edward Sebring, the cashier and president, respectively. We've got a nice ship as the center vignette, and the $10 overprint bleed on the back. Corner missing, but you know, these are very old and they're not remainders. These are strictly speaking obsoletes that were used. These were issued and circulated back in the day in South Carolina. Next one is probably my favorite note of the group, and it is ironically the one in the worst condition. Bank of Georgetown, South Carolina. This is the $5 denomination. Gigantic V in the center. The pretty lady sitting within it. Unfortunately, unable to make out any of the writing. Cannot make out the cashier, cannot make out the president, and it cannot even make out the date. Very, very super faint. We've got holes in this one, as you can see my finger going through it. Just terrible condition. But this one came in the collection. Like I said, it was $21, a little over $21. This one's also been hinged or mounted. Still a pretty cool piece of history. I'm going to try scanning this at a high res to see if I can pick up the signatures and the date. Next up is the Farmers and Exchange Bank of Charleston, January 14th, 1854, $10 denomination. Unable to make out the cashier, but I looked online. The president is William M. Martin. Obsolete note. And this bank was chartered in December 1852, so only a couple years prior to this note being issued, and was destroyed by Union troops during Sherman's march through the Carolinas in 1865. The harbor scene in the central vignette, along with slaves picking cotton in the lower right, and the portrait of Governor McDuffie is in the lower left. So as we can see, we've got the ship as the central vignette. No idea what this stamp or this stamp means. We've got cotton pickers and Governor McDuffie. Pretty cool note. Next up, we have another bank that was destroyed by Sherman. This one is the Exchange Bank of Columbia, $10 denomination. September 29th, 1854 is the date. We've got some writing, or as PMG would call it, annotation on the back. This bank was also destroyed, like I said, by Sherman marching through the Carolinas in 1865. In the center vignette is Seated Liberty. A vignette of John C. Calhoun is on the upper right, or upper left, I guess. And a portrait of more than likely a random pretty woman is on the lower left. So we could see, this is John Calhoun, Seated Liberty, and some random woman. Interesting note. Exchange Bank of Columbia. Next one's an interesting pickup within this group. This is a note from the South Carolina Railroad Company. It is dated July 1st, 1873, $1 note. And it's good for the fare of one ticket. The president, which is this one, is W.J. McGrath. I was unable to find this signature. Very intricate back. Pretty cool note. So this really isn't a banknote. This was issued by the railroad company. Got a locomotive vignette along with the ubiquitous Pretty Lady. Pretty cool note. This one here is the State Bank of South Carolina at Charleston. I believe this note is referred to as the potato dinner note. As you can see, we've got people kind of sitting or standing around a table. Very, very interesting. This note is in really good condition, and you probably can't tell, but this is what's called cut canceled. So they obviously put this through a machine. I'm trying to pick up, you can kind of see it like right here. It's like a cross pattern on each side. You see this right here? This is the cross pattern of the cut cancel. And I think there's something in the middle too. The glare on this plastic, but very nice note. The different color signatures. So this was issued and cut canceled. October 9th, 1860 is the date. Very pretty note. Last but not least, we've got a fractional. This also came in that collection of South Carolina notes. I don't know what it was doing in there. Let me see if I could focus a little bit more. Okay. This is from the state of Alabama, issued January 1st, 1863. From the Confederate States, it is a 25-cent fractional note. I don't have too many fractional obsolete notes, so this was a pretty cool one to add to my collection. This note is not terribly expensive. There's a bunch of these that you could find on eBay, for example. I'm sure other places for under 30 bucks, but this one came in the lot with the South Carolina notes. So, and like I said, all of these South Carolina notes were $21, I believe, $21.50, something like that, what I paid for them. So a bunch of South Carolina obsoletes and these 3 Federal Reserve notes from 1914. So not a bad pickup. Thanks for watching. As always, if you're interested, you can follow me on Instagram at NCS Limited. NCS Limited is where you can find me on Instagram. I post pretty much daily, so check that out. Thanks for watching as always, and until next time, thanks for watching.